illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, domestic violence, and healthcare reform. They're all interconnected. And so I'd just like to take a moment here today to thank all of you who work on these issues, who understand the connections, and to remind ourselves that without those women who are brave enough to come forward and talk about their issues, without those undocumented immigrants who are brave enough to come forward and say, I've been living with being undocumented for X number of years and it has this effect on me. Without those people who come forward and say, we don't have health care and it has caused these problems for me and my family. Without those people who have the courage to stand up and talk about their personal situations, we who want to help them can do very little. So let's just take just a moment to recognize those brave people with whom we are struggling together. Thank you.
Okay, so did everyone buy a raffle ticket? Oh, yeah. Supporting fundraising among the youth, like we discussed earlier. This is your last chance to get those airline tickets. So we're going to do one more run through. So please be generous, be supportive.
우리의 그 어린 꿈나무 아이들이 여러분들께 마지막 호소를 합니다. 한 장 사주세요. 그 마지막 이제 그 경품 추첨을 이제 할 마지막 기회입니다. 꼭 우리 어린이들이 실망하지 않도록 여러분들 저는 믿습니다. 마지막 사주시고 좀 이따가 발표를 하도록 하겠습니다.
Introducing our third awardee is Ms. Jaeyeon Jung. Ms. Jung is a civil rights attorney with the Department of Justice here in Washington, D.C. She's also secretary of the NACASEC board. Please welcome Ms. Jaeyeon Jung.
다음 사회 정의상을 소개해 주실 정재현 님을 소개해 드립니다. 정재현님은 지금 그 법무부 민권 변호사로 활동하고 계시고 나카색에서 어느 누구보다 더 열심히 적극적으로 활동하시는 분 중에 한 분이십니다. 감사합니다.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming. Again, my name is Jaeyeon Jung. I'm a board member of NACASEC. I'm the secretary, and I have the honor of introducing our next awardee, Harold Hongju Ko. He is the legal advisor of the Department of State, and he's his 22nd person to serve in that position and the first Korean American. And I am very honored that he is one of our awardees, although my parents are very, very disappointed that he's not here because they were very excited that I was going to get to meet him. But unfortunately, he couldn't be here, but there's a good reason. He was sworn in today, and he had family coming in from Korea and all other parts of the country to come celebrate such the honorable position that he was sworn into today. So we do forgive him on that, and as you'll see, he just as the rest of the Korean community and other communities that we work with understand the importance of not making your mother angry. So, except now I'm in the position of having made my parents angry because now I don't get to meet him. But Harold Ho has an extremely distinguished career. He is an amazing advocate for international human rights as well as domestic human rights and civil rights. He is the former dean of Yale Law School, another little-known school that none of the Korean American community parents care about. And he also graduated from Harvard, small community private college. So, you know, his parents must really, really be proud because he and his brother, who also has been designated the, hi honey, the Assistant Secretary for Health and Human Services. So his mom, he and his brother have set this bar very high for the rest of us Korean children. So, but in any event, he's an amazing man and he's done amazing things and he's an amazing advocate for human rights. And so, without further ado, he has actually graciously taped a message for us. And so, here we go.
Hello, I'm Harold Hongju Ko. I'm the legal advisor of the State Department and the former dean of Yale Law School. I wanted to send my thanks to everybody here at NACASEC for the award that you're giving me tonight, and to explain why I couldn't be here. As you know, after my confirmation process, I have a formal swearing in. I had asked that this be done by Secretary Clinton. It turns out the day that it could be done is September 17th. And my entire family is coming in from all over the world, and tonight there is a dinner that my family is organizing with all of my relatives far and wide. As Koreans and Korean Americans, I think you understand that there's one thing you don't do, which is disappoint your mother. And so, as a result, I'm with her, and NACASEC was kind enough to say that I could participate in this wonderful event through this meeting. I want to thank and congratulate Deepak Baragaya and Luis Gutierrez, who are also receiving this award. It's a great honor for me to be honored with them. And I also wanted to thank Olivia Park and Julie Kilchu Lee, Kurumanda and Unsuk Lee for their work in setting up this conference. This is a moment of deep significance for the Korean American community, as reflected in the evening that you're gathered tonight. We are well past 100 years of Korean immigration to the United States. In the early days, I think the focus of the community was on getting established in America. In the second phase, I think there was hope that we would be recognized as a distinctive member of the American mosaic. I remember when I was a boy growing up, Korea was virtually unknown in the United States. Many people didn't know where Korea was. They confused it with Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. Korean products were considered to be of low quality, and Korean Americans were virtually unknown. Today, that has changed. Korea is an economic power. It is a leader in the world of cyberspace. Korean American culture is the envy of East Asia, and Korean Americans are playing a significant role in many parts of American life. I feel honored, along with my family, to be at the old end of that spectrum. This year, both my brother, Dr. Howard Kyung-Soo, was confirmed as Assistant Secretary of Health and Human Services, and I was confirmed for this position just in time for my mother's 80th birthday. And my mother had everything, so we thought that 2 confirmations of her sons would be a good addition. I will say this, that the progressive work of NACASEC is so important because for the first time in the 21st century, we are facing a world which is defined not by a wall, the Berlin Wall, but a web, the World Wide Web. Koreans are now an established member of this community, and they have been recognized. And the question now is, what kind of service do we give? My own parents encouraged me and my brothers and sisters to get involved in public service. We came here during the era of the immediate Korean War period, and then we grew up during the period of Vietnam and Watergate. We are now at a moment where we have a president, Barack Obama, for whom I'm fortunate to serve, who is someone who's a member of an Asian American family who actually grew up in Asia. I work for a Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, who has throughout her career represented the needs of those who have less. And those are the issues to which I think we should be committed. Issues of health care, immigration, education, civil rights, and the rule of law are all of extraordinary concern to not just every American, but to every Korean American. It fits comfortably with the values we have long promoted. As you know, Koreans care deeply about the values of education. They care deeply about political participation. Let me close with this thought. As I receive your award, let me encourage you all to stand up, not just for politics, but for principle. Certain principles which are critical. This is Citizenship Mobilization Day. I remember profoundly how I felt on the day that my mother and my sister became American citizens. It is said that people who adopt a country love a country like a lover loves a lover, someone they've chosen, not someone who has been selected for them. They love it with a passion and with a taste for freedom and democracy that few others can enjoy. In my time as legal advisor, I've had many exciting experiences. I've traveled to Afghanistan, I've traveled to Moscow. But one of the most meaningful events for me personally was to return recently with former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright to the presidential funeral of President Kim Dae-jung, the Nobel Peace Prize winner. As I watched his funeral ceremony, it reminded me how far Korea has come in my own lifetime. That it has become a vibrant democracy, that it is a country that is now a global player. Its citizens are recognized around the world, and its commitments to the values of human rights and democracy are well known. As someone who is a lawyer, a human rights professor, an educator, someone who has benefited from America's commitment to immigration, I accept your award tonight with gratitude and with hope that this group of individuals gathered for this three-day meeting carry forth in those important and profoundly significant values and commitments that have characterized our community over the years. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you soon, and I will tell my family members tonight of the honor I received and how, for their sake, I'm with them at dinner rather than with you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to accept this award and make him come pick it up in my house.
I'm going to get to meet him. Dae-jung will summarize Mr. Koh's words in Korean now.
고홍주 국무부 자문위원이 오늘 바로 그 인준 선서를 했대요, 이분께서. 그래가지고 거기다가 또 이제 전국에 계시는 가족분들이 다 오늘 여기 이 자리에 이걸 축하하기 위해서 오셨기 때문에 오늘 진짜 오고 싶었는데 오늘 인준 선서를 한 날이고 또 가족들과 같이 이제 식사를 준비하는 날이라서 참석을 못하게 돼서 정말 죄송하다고 그런 말씀을 해주셨고요. 그리고 이제 또 중요하게 말씀하신 것 중에 하나는 그런 걸 해주신 것 같아요. 우리나라도 그렇고 이 미국도 그렇고 어떤 역사의 사회의 변화 속에 우리가 살고 있지 않은가. 얼마 전에 한국의 고 김대중 대통령이 돌아가신 거에 대한 장례식에 참석할 기회가 있었는데 그런 장례식에 참석하면서 우리나라의 어떤 60년대, 70년대, 80년대의 어떤 그런 독재에서부터 민주화 그런 과정들을 경험할 수 있었고 느낄 수가 있었고 또 본인이 미국에 이민 왔었을 때가 60년, 70년대 어떤 미국의 어떤 민주화의 암흑기잖아요. 근데 닉슨 대통령이 어떤 여러 가지 스캔들도 많았고 그렇지만 지금 새로운 행정부가 만들어지면서 새로운 변화를 추구하는 어떤 그런 역사적인 그런 순간에 있는데 이 순간에 본인이 이런 개인적인 것도 있겠지만 코리안 어메리칸 동포사회를 대표해서 이런 변화의 한 중심에 자기가 갖고 있는 그런 그 재능을 발휘할 수도 있고 책임감으로서 열심히 일할 수 있는 기회가 돼서 다행스럽고 우리 동포사회도 미국 사회에 참여함으로써 나름대로 정치적인 힘과 우리의 책임 그 다음에 주인의식으로서 어떤 미국을 좀 더 아름답고 건강한 나라로 만드는 우리가 참여해야 되지 않느냐 그런 말씀을 주셨습니다.
We have the honor of Congressman Mike Honda rejoining us this evening. Congressman Honda, as we all know, has been a champion and leader in our community and many other communities for many years on a multitude of issues that we care about. Please welcome Congressman Honda.
여러분들 아시겠지만 우리 아시안 커뮤니티는 동포사회가 많이 알려주신 그런 마이크 혼다 의원님께서 오늘 격려의 말씀을 주시고 오겠습니다.
감사합니다. 안녕하세요. 어서 영원다 어라를 She really likes that, huh? She's Korean. She's the head of the union. Which state? Yeah, no, which state? Whole country? Okay. Good evening. Good evening. I heard you had a good day. You should have a good day. I heard that some of you drove 3 days to LA. Who drove 3 days to LA? Students, right? Okay. And just so that you know that I know why you had to drive. And that's good. You had a dedication. And I understand that you went and visited all these offices. Did you get a lot of yeses today? Yeah. Did you tolerate a no? Well, you know, at least we keep score, right? Remember I said this morning, we count the votes, and they're going to count your votes. And if you're not a citizen or you're a legal permanent resident or whatever, you can get 10 votes to either help them or get rid of them. Right? So we want to know who are the people that are for us. And I think that the job is not, it doesn't stop here. It only began here. And I know that the unity movement is a very effective movement, and all of you need to take this experience and take it back home and make sure that you continue that work. What you've done here today, I think that a lot of people never had that experience. And I know that a lot of you are practicing citizenship, even though you're people waiting to be citizens. We're going to make it happen. I know Luis Gutierrez was here before, and I congratulate you for recognizing for his work. And I congratulate all the other awardees. And they have contributed greatly to the advancement of the issue of citizenship. Let me tell you a little story about Congressman Luis. You didn't say it this morning, and I didn't tell the story this morning. A year and a half ago, before we got reelected again, he was thinking of retiring. Can you imagine what it would be like right now if he did retire? We would have lost a leader. We would have lost a person, an energizer, a spark plug, a person who really does spark and fire up our imagination. Somebody who has a heart much greater than his own body. I know he's a small guy, but you know, he's got a big heart.
Can I get out straight to the bathroom?
But wasn't he fiery this morning when he spoke? Yeah. He spoke with passion. He spoke with conviction. And talk about speaking, I was told I had to be short. I'm going to be a little longer, I am short already. But I just wanted to say to you that the kind of work that you're involved in right now, it's a liberation kind of work. It never stops. When you win, there's other battles to be fought. But this is the one that's in front of us that's important. We have to pass not only the health reform, but the immigration reform. And make no mistake about it, they're connected. They are connected. And they're connected in ways that really binds our families together and our hearts together. You cannot separate them. So let us remember that there are a lot of people who have sacrificed their lives for this country in terms of military service. And you know, a lot of them were not citizens. And they sacrificed. And now we're requiring people who are poor taxpayers and good citizens to require them to go through more. So I just want to let you know that every day we're going to get more and more people to be in front of you to push and pass the immigration and the healthcare reform bills. And it's going to be on behalf of not ourselves, but for those who are behind us, who are coming up, and for the sake of them, and also because people came before us, laid down the ground. And so we have no other option but to do the work for all of us. You know, they said that somos familia, y todos somos seres humanos, y todos Estamos aquí porque
그러니까 이거 한 번 누르면 끝 저기 볼 뜨고 그다음 또 한 번 누르면은 플레이 레코드
and we want to be citizens. People chose to be. I was that's what I show you. You have to stand behind
때
that.
돌리면 된다고요? 이거 눌러서 끝난 다음에 돌리라고요? F가 여기 치면
Everybody says, si se puede, right? There's another phrase we have to learn because we got the si se puede out of the way. We have somebody in the White House. We have to control the House of Representatives. We have enough Democrats in the Senate. Now we just got to make it happen. There's another phrase that you have to remember when you visit Congress people. Remember, these Congress people just like me. They're just like you. Nothing extraordinary. You know, they get up in the morning, they brush their teeth, they do their business, everything, and they go to work. Same thing. So they're just like you. The difference is that you have a reason to be in front of them. And you got to give them a reason to have their job, to make the right choice. They don't make it. I'll be very frank with you. Make sure they're not there next year. Okay? Because this is about doing the right thing. Martin Luther King said, 3 days before he was murdered, he said, a man of conscience always does the right thing. And we want each and every one of our elected officials to do the right thing. It doesn't matter what party we are. Okay, so the other phrase besides si se puede is, it goes like this. No vengo a ver si puedo. Vengo porque si puedo. I didn't come to see if I could. I came because I could. So there's a difference. You came because you could and you did. You made a difference and you have to continue to make that difference each and every day until the day that we vote. Luis and I talked on the floor after we left this morning. We were sitting in the area where, you know, we call it the lobby. In the chambers, there's one section where all of us gather. We call that the lobby. Asians, Muslims. And we said to Grijalva, you know, are you going to be with us on the bill? He says, of course. So we're starting to gather that momentum. Like we said this morning, we have to be who we are. And so we have to be true to who we are. And so to that end, we commit to make that fight on everybody's behalf. And I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. And say thank you also. You had a great dinner? Yes! Okay, you had a great dinner. Now let's think about the people who harvested the food. Now let's think about the people who cooked it and those who served it. Local 25.
We're building up great suspense before we get to our last awardee. So before we get to that, we are going to draw the winning raffle prize. So my partner, he's going to go out into the crowd and select one of you to draw the winning raffle ticket. Are you ready? All right. All right, so Deja gets selected Mr. Paul Carmen, who comes from Chicago. He's on the Nagasaki Coast Committee for the event.
5, 6, 3.
That was a lot of numbers to remember. Not Korean. 4,
2, 6, 5, 6, 3.
Does anybody? 4, 2, 6, 5, 6, 3.
My number is 4, 2, 6, 4, 4.
Very close.
This person must be
Ms. Sona Yoon. Sona is a NACASEC board member who hails from Atlanta, Georgia. She has been with the Center for Community Change for almost 10 years and is the former co-team leader of the Fair Immigration Reform Movement, of which NACASEC is a member, and now is their healthcare organizer, lead organizer. Sona has been a great friend of NACASEC for many years. Please welcome her.
마지막으로 사회 정상을 안내해 주시고 소개해 주신 소나 유씨를 소개해 드립니다. 이소나 씨는 여기 커뮤니티를 위한 변화를 위한 단체에서 오랫동안 일하셨고요. 지금 미교역 인사로서 열심히 일하시는 우리 활동가이십니다.
안녕하세요. Good evening. So I'm from Smyrna, Georgia. I know Georgia is represented here. Where's Georgia? 10 years from now, we will be the Chicago. We will be the LA. We will be the New York. But I'm not here to create a battle. So earlier today, I told Deepak. Where's Deepak? I told Deepak that I was introducing him tonight, and he looked really worried. He actually looked pretty scared. And I have to admit, he had good reason. Because what then came to my mind was how I would get a hold of the video clip or picture of Deepak giving a fabulous rendition of Barry White. And maybe during the after party, we can convince him to perform it for us. Deepak Bhargava is Executive Director of the Center for Community Change, a national nonprofit organization whose mission is to develop the power and capacity of low-income people, especially those of color. He has sharpened the Center's focus on community organizing as a central strategy for social justice and on public policy change. He conceived and led the Center's work on immigration reform, which evolved into FIRM, Fair Immigration Reform Movement. He has also overseen the internal transformation of the Center, which now has a younger, more diverse board and staff, and a greater focus on strengthening and aligning community organizing towards policy change. He has provided intellectual leadership on issues including the future of progressive movement in the U.S., poverty, racial justice and immigration reform, community organizing, and economic justice. His work has been widely published, and his groundbreaking article with Jean Hardesty, Wrong About the Right, influenced how many progressives strategize for social change. Born in Bangalore, India, Bhargava immigrated to the United States when he was a child. Deepak is a son, is an intellect, a visionary, and a movement leader. To me, he's also a dear friend and a mentor. When I first came to the Center in 2000, almost every year for the first few years, I would go to him in moments of uncertainty. Uncertain about the movement, for having what it takes to fight big national campaigns such as welfare and immigration reform. And every year he would listen to me quietly, nodding with understanding and empathy. Yet every year I would leave his office with a renewed commitment, and somehow an additional campaign, or another action, or event to organize for this in 10 days. This afternoon at the Unity and Movement rally, Deepak Bhargava said that if it means that if you're not an immigrant, justice for immigrants is our issue and we will speak up. If we are not poor, justice for the poor is our issue and we'll speak up. If we live in an urban area, what happens to our rural neighbors is our issue and we will speak up. We do this because we recognize that, as Martin Luther King said, we are bound up in a single garment of destiny, and that when injustice affects us directly, it affects us all indirectly. In this moment of uncertainty, he has provided us with a sense of purpose. What we need most is to come together in collective struggle. Tonight, Deepak is being awarded the 2009 Standing Up for Justice Award. I am proud and honored as my colleague, my brother, my friend, and mentor, the 2009 NACASEC Standing Up for Justice Award.
Good evening, everybody. have the microphone last. But I'm going to be gracious and not tell the many embarrassing stories that I could about her. I am really proud to accept this award on behalf of CCC, the Center for Community Change, and receiving it from an organization that colleagues that we at CCC admire so deeply really is an extraordinary honor, and I'm very, very grateful. I do want to say that there are a number of people here at CCC who I would like to take a second to recognize. Some incredible staff people at the center who I hope will stand up and take a round of applause, as well as our board chair, Andrew Fernandez. So if you'll stand up. So, you know, people often tell you they love you, but they don't often enough, in my opinion, tell you why they love you. So I'm going to tell you, Nakasek, why we at CCC love you. So this is my love letter. It is not an exaggeration to say that Nakasek is one of the finest, most effective, most creative grassroots programs in the United States of So I actually have to work at paring this down, but just some highlights from our work together. Nakasek has had an incredible impact on the national policy debate. You've helped to shape the Children's Health Insurance Program that passed earlier this year, and your fight was a big part of the reason that immigrant kids are included in that legislation. Nakasek has played a critical role in building the immigrant rights movement in our country, and your work has put us on a path that will, I know, soon result in justice for millions of immigrants all over this country. And as important as the way, as the accomplishments of the organization, I've been really moved by Nakasek's deep commitment to grassroots organizing and leadership development, which we know is the only way that deep and lasting social change in this country has ever happened. And he's always insisted, and this is one of the things I admire the most, that immigrant and Korean communities do not stand alone. That you and we are part of a larger multiracial movement for social, economic, and racial justice in this country. That large vision and your large heart make Nakasek a national treasure. And I would be remiss if I didn't say how lucky you are and we are as a movement to have Unsuk as a leader. One of her qualities is that she's so modest, I never know where she is. I'm trying to look at her, but she's hiding. You are an extraordinary human being who brings wisdom, passion to the struggle for social justice. You're all really lucky. About this extraordinary moment in history in which we find ourselves. So some 10 months ago, many of us hoped that the election of Barack Obama through broad popular mobilization would be the catalyst for meaningful change in our country. We hoped that his election would usher in a new era of steady, concrete steps towards realizing the promise of this country. That if this country could elect Barack Obama its first African-American president, son of a Kenyan national, surely this was the America that we, people of color, immigrants, and low-income people had been waiting for. Surely this was the moment. So we have relearned an important lesson in this time, that it turns out that change is pretty hard, and that achieving it depends not just on what President Obama does, although that is very important, but much more on what we do. So will we organize people to demand changes in healthcare, immigration, poverty, and racial justice? Will we create the relentless wave of pressure from outside DC that forces elected officials to break the status quo? Throughout our history, it has taken this kind of mobilization to win any kind of serious change, from the abolition of slavery to the New Deal to winning the right to vote for women. All these changes were delivered not by people in power on a silver platter, but by everyday people organizing in local communities connected to a national movement. The other lesson we've learned is that we will only change this country if we recognize our shared fate. There is a tradition in America of rugged individualism that says that each person is on their own and that their success or failure is simply a matter of their own effort, that we have no responsibility for each other's well-being. This is a vision based on fear, isolation, and racism. And we have seen it in full display in the angry rhetoric of the teabaggers and the opponents of healthcare reform. And those of us in the immigrant rights movement are very familiar with this way of seeing the world. CCC and NACASEC share a deep commitment to another path we call community values. This is the idea that we really are all in it together, that no one in our society can thrive while some of us deal with injustice. So, brothers and sisters, we stand at a turning point in history, and whether we change America depends entirely on whether we embrace those two lessons. That we must organize to win real change, and that we have to stand together. NACASEC, to me, embodies those commitments in all of its work, and today was a beautiful display of that commitment. And that is why we at CCC are so proud to partner with you in this struggle for social justice. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
디팩 발가바 사무국장님은 CCC라고요. 지역사회 변화를 위한 센터라는 단체에서 사무국장으로 계시고요. 이 CCC라는 단체는 저소득층, 그다음에 우리 이민자들, 그리고 보다 나은 사회를 위해서 지역을 조직하고 교육하는 그런 단체에서 활동하고 계십니다. 그리고 지금 발가바 씨께서는 이제 몇 가지 말씀해 주셨는데요. 먼저는 보통 우리가 살아가면서 누구를 사랑한다고 얘기를 하는데 왜 사랑하는지 얘기를 하지 않잖아요. 네, 그런 거를 비교하시면서 낙하색을 열심히 일하는 낙하색이 좀 낯뜨거운 칭찬을 많이 해주셨어요. 저희가 열심히 일하고 전국 단체로서 또 나름대로 정책뿐만이 아니라 지역사회를 조직하는 어떤 그런 모범이 된다고 이렇게 더 열심히 잘하는 뜻으로 아마 격려의 말씀해 주신 것 같아요. 제가 더 열심히 노력하라고. 또 하나는 지금 아무리 정치권에서 변화가 있었지만 지역사회가 변화하지 않으면 어떤 우리가 꿈꾸는 열망하는 변화가 하루아침에 오기는 힘든 것 같다는 걸 요즘 많이 느끼시잖아요. 이제 그런 상황 속에서 우리가 살고 있는 지역사회를 교육하고 조직하는 것이 어느 때보다 중요한 시기라고 말씀하셨고, 그리고 이때야말로 어떤 미국 사회가 진정으로 우리가 추구해야 될 공동체, 더불어 살아가는 가치를 우리가 꿈꾸며 신념하고 나눠야 되는 때가 아닌가, 그런 얘기를 해주셨습니다.
As we come to the close of our program, we must look ahead to the work that we still have left to do. One of the fourth graders in our Los Angeles Center's children's drumming troupe wrote a letter to President Obama, which is going to be displayed on this screen. In this letter, this 9-year-old tells President Obama about how hard his family works, but they aren't able to afford access to quality health care. Seeing this, we know that we are here to continue this fight until there is a more just and equitable world for our children. We hope you will continue to stand with us, and again, we thank you so much for all of your support of NACASEC and the movement we are all part of building. 고맙습니다. We will end with an exciting performance by our future community activists. Guma from Chicago is a children's drumming troupe from Chicago, and Baram Sori from LA. And then they will all join together and drum together, and we hope you all will also join in with them. Thank you so much for coming this evening and sharing this night with us.
오늘 그 긴 시간 같이 해서 감사드리고요. 앞으로 저희가 지난 15년을 돌아보면서 나름대로 아주 크게 아주 그냥 성공적으로 잘했다기보다는 우리가 생각하는 소중한 것들을 열심히 노력해 왔다, 어떤 그런 생각을 해보고 앞으로 더 할 일들이 많이 있다는 그런 그 책임감과 앞으로 우리의 과제에 대해서 이제 고민을 많이 해보게 되는 것 같아요. 그런 의미에서 저희가 특히 저희 우리 가입단체들과 우리 미교육 식구들, 우리 많은 후원자분들이 많이 고민했던 그런 앞으로의 할 일들이 있는데, 우리 한 4학년 초등학생이 우리 오바마 대통령에게 쓴 편지가 하나 있어요. 저희가 이 각 지역 마당집에서 우리 자라나는 2세, 3세들을 위해서 우리말, 그 다음에 풍물들을 가리키는데 거기에 참가해 또 이 학생이 오늘 그 공연하는 그 친구 중에 한 명이에요. 그 친구가 오바마 대통령에게 이런 아주 가슴에서 느낄 수 있는 말이 필요 없는 그런 우리 심정을 울리는 그런 편지를 써준 것 같아요. 간단하게 요약하면은 오바마 대통령이 어렸을 적에 미국 정부는 오바마 대통령 가정에게 공평했던 것 같아요. fair, 공평했던 것 같아요. 제가 보기에는 지금 정부가 우리 이민자들에게는 공평하게 하지 않는 것 같아요. 왜 우리 엄마 아빠가 열심히 일하고 노력하는데 왜 휴가도 없고 왜 의료보험도 없고 왜 이렇게 살아야 돼요? 법을 바꿔주세요. 맨 밑에 써있죠? 법을 바꿔주세요. 그러니까 이거는 어린 한 소년의 얘기가 아니라 우리 모두의 우리에게 앞으로 열심히 더 하라는 채찍질 같아요. 더 열심히 노력하라고, 올바른 세상을 위해서. 우리 어린이가 바라는 것은 또 우리가 바라는 것일 수도 있다고 생각되거든요. 그래서 그런 것들을 같이 여러분들과 나아가길 바라고, 마지막으로 우리 어린이 풍물패, 그 다음에 우리 시카고, LA의 문화패들이 같이 공연을 하면서 앞으로 여러분들과 더 같이 열심히 할 것을 다짐하는 마음으로 오늘 행사를 마치도록 하겠습니다. 감사합니다.
앉아주셔야지 되는데.